And hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. Today we'll be talking about Itertools. So Itertools it's just basically a Python module to help with things like iteration over other things, such as, how you can iterate over a list and stuff like that. We'll be getting into that. So yeah, let's actually get started. It's really fun. So let's just get into it. First off, we want to say from Itertools import. And the first thing we want to import is product. Product allows us to kind of create a product of two different lists. So let me just show you. Let's say we have list A, and list A is equal to 1 and 2. And we have list B, and list B is equal to 1, 2. Now let's say we have a product, and that product is equal to product. And in here we can say AB. Now if we were to just print out prod, then we won't really see anything special. If I go Python and run it, we're just going to get an Itertool object, which isn't really helpful, but we can convert this Itertool object into a list. Now if we run it, as you can see, we get 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2. Basically, it created a part or a list of tuples in it with every type of match you can get with. So you can get 1 and 1 because 1 and 1. You can get 1 and 2, 1 and 2. You can get 2 and 1 because 2 and 1. And you can get 2 and 2 because 2 and 2. So if we were to go here and say 3 and 4, it might be a little bit easier to understand. And you can see we get 1 and 3, so 1 and 3, 1 and 4, 1 and 4. 2 and 3, 2 and 3, and 2 and 4, 2 and 4. So basically you get a list with all of them basically as matches. So 1 is matched with everything except the 1 in its own list here. And 2 is matched with everything except for the 1 in its own list here. So we were to go 1 to 9. As you can see now, 9 is being matched with everything else as well. So that's kind of how product can be useful. You can also tell it how many times it should repeat. So let's just remove that 9. And let's say we go here, let's add a comment and say repeat. And we can make repeat equal to, let's say, 2. Now it's going to repeat everything 2 times. So 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 3, 2, 3. And it's going to repeat it. You can increase this as many times as you want. It's going to increase the list. Next up we have permutations. I'm just going to replace this. Of course you can keep it and just add a comment, add something else. But here I'm going to say permutations. So permutations, I think if I'm not mistaken, shows you a way in which lists can be ordered. So different ways lists can be ordered. So we go here and make this 1, 2, 3 for example. And I'm just going to copy that because that's quite a word. Put that there. And now we can just say that, and I'm just going to call this X because we know. Okay, list is out. As you can see, we get 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 3, 2. It's basically the same as before, but the difference is it's one list now. Instead of having two different lists and seeing how they can be matched together, this is one list showing how they can be matched together. If we go here with 3, it's going to give us tuples with 3 inside of them. Okay, next up is, I'm going to select both of these, combinations. So it's basically the same as permutations, but adding a length is kind of mandatory, so there are no duplicates. And so before, actually let's quick go back here. So before, if we just did this, I believe that should work perfectly fine. It will just default to this length right here. So basically adding this number right there, that is mandatory. So if we go like this, it's the same as permutation, but it's going to give you an error if you do not get the required argument. So now it will work perfectly fine. We'll do basically the same thing as before. So we go 3 here, and now we'll do that. So it's basically the same thing in a sense, but it wouldn't give you it wouldn't repeat any duplicates. So with the one before, you get something like 2, 3, 3, 2. that's basically repeating the first one. This one here will not repeat anything. So 1, 2, 3 won't be repeated as 3, 2, 1 or 3, 1, 2 or 2, 1, 3. It won't repeat it like that at all. So that's combinations. Next we have accumulate. Let me just go through it, straight through it. So I'm just going to pass in A there. So accumulate A. And I'm going to print out accumulate. Now at first it may look a little bit confusing, but basically what's happening here is it goes through this and it says, okay, 1, and then it returns 1. Then it sees 2, and then it adds these two together. So 1 plus 2, that will give you 3. Then it goes to 3, and then it adds, because this has been turned to 3, because 1 plus 2 is 3, it will basically see this. I'm going to add these two together and give you 6. So if we were to add more here, so let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's going to continuously add them together. So 1 plus 2, that's 3, so it's 1 and then 3. And then 3 plus 3, that's 6. 6 plus 4, that's 10. And 10 plus 5, that's 15. So basically it adds everything together and gives you a list of what everything is added together with. Okay, we're going through this really quickly. I'm really proud of you guys that you're keeping up here. So next up we have group by. So let's just create a function here. Okay, so there we go. So now if it's less than the minimum value that we can pass in, then it will return true. If it's larger than or the same amount, then it won't return true. The simple if statement right here. So let's go here and we can say, so basically it is a list with all of the different random bunch of values. Don't really have to worry about them too much. So now we can just create an object. So I'm just going to call it X again. And group by, and then we can just go here, A. And here we can pass in a key. And this key is basically just going to be this less than function right here. So less than. And basically we don't have to return, or we don't have to specify this X right here, because less than will automatically take this in as that X value. So now if we were to for through that list, I know I'm not explaining anything right now, but I'll explain in a second. Okay, let's run that and just make sure it works. My bad, that should be val. Val, there we go. Okay, now it should work perfectly fine. Basically, here they return our true and false values. So here it's true because if we go back here, 1 is smaller than 5. Then false because all of these are false. So it returns you that list, it's false. Then it goes back here and sees 2 and 3, that is smaller than 5, which, as you know here, it does return true. So then here it returns true, and then false again, because the rest here, they are false, and then the last one is also true. So basically it just goes through the list and tells you which one is true and which ones are false, and yeah, that's kind of all it does. Next up we have count, so I'm just going to clear this. And here we can say count. So let's create an infinite loop. So for I in count 10, and then print I. Let's see what we get. Okay. So what do we get? We basically got an infinite loop here. Let's break it. So let's say if I is equal to, and let's go 15 or something. Here we can say break. Now that will break. Now we can see what's actually happening here. Basically, it just starts the counter at 10. In this case, because we put it there, and then it just continuously keeps on counting. It doesn't have a limit, so it will continue counting until it has a breaking point. So in this case, you know, it's for I and count 10, and basically it starts at 10 and it just keeps on going. If you want to, you can make this one equal to 0, and now it will start at 0 all the way to 15 because we put a breakpoint at 15. Let's count. It just allows you to kind of create an infinite loop until you break it. So let's import cycle. That should be a Y. And yeah, then we can just remove this for loop again. And we can say A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we can basically print all the values in the list over and over forever. So it's going to be an infinite loop cycle type of thing. So for I in cycle and in A. So if you need to basically go through a list of things non-stop forever, and then let's print I, then this would be your way to go. So you can see it basically prints out all the values from 1 to 5, so in that list, forever. So it will just do that forever. So if you need to loop through a list just the whole time, then this would be your way to go. We can also import repeat from Itertools, so repeat, which is relatively self-explanatory, to be honest. So let's just go for I in repeat, and let's say 10. Print I. It's just going to repeat 10. Yeah, that's all it's going to do. It's just going to repeat that number until you tell it to stop. So if you want to tell it to stop, then one way you can do it is you can actually go and say, let's say you want to repeat 1 10 times. Now there's only 10 ones. Or if you want to repeat 1 2 times, 2 ones. Repeat 1 1,000 times, 1,000 ones. So yeah, that's a repeat. So that was Itertools. Well, tell me what you thought about it. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Will you find it useful in your futures of coding? And yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed and did understand for the most part. And I will see you all again in the next video.